For millions of years, our planet has been floating in space. Millions of creatures have lived on its surface. Many aquatic beings were among them, but they affected only our human imagination from the evolutionary struggle. We are the only one who have obtained the advantages over reason. Reaching it was far from easy. Its origin dates back 20 million years ago. From those fruit-eating creatures who lived in Africa called proconsuls, they roamed about in trees far above terrestrial dangers, feeding on fruits and leaves. Depending on the species, they varied in size from marmoset to gorilla. They hardly cared about the world below. Proconsuls resembled with modern-day macaque. Their upper and lower limbs were of same size. They moved leaning on palms and evended fingers. Quite a few fossils of proconsuls have been found in East Africa. The skull was primitive, the brain small and rather simple, yet the comparatively small size of their muzzle and canine teeth suggests non-aggressiveness, one of the major features that led to reason. But 10 million years ago, a drop of temperature made the African jungle sparse, which rendered it impossible to move from tree to tree via branches. Forced to leave the trees, the descendants of proconsul Ardipithecus began moving on their rear limbs. Their feet were still prehensile, but with special arches that allow bipedalism. The nearly complete skeleton of Ardipithecus, named Ardi, proves that these creatures were able to walk, but not easily as we do. The arms of Ardipithecus were knee length, and the hands were of half human and half ape-like. The first step were taken to climb the next tree. Ardipithecus didn't want to leave tree crowns, the habitual homes. They were indeed the intermediate between humans and apes, as all of Ardi's features mediate entirely ape-like and entirely human-like features. But life moved on. Trees became sparse and Africa turned into a boundless savanna. 4 million years ago, new creatures based in savanna gracile australopiths. They were well adjusted to their new home. Their way of walking on two legs was not so different from ours. They gathered and ate everything and were able to walk on miles on end. They formed groups which allowed them to repel any danger, but the head was held on upright neck. The canine teeth got smaller and brain bigger. 3 million years ago, Australopithecus affirmine of East Africa evolved into the first human. 2.5 million years ago, our ancestors crossed the Rubicon of brain size 700 grams. The first representative of our genes, Homo habilis, handy man. He got his name for a reason. It was Homo habilis who was the first to make stone tools for carving, whittling wood, defending from predators and killing prey. Man was now armed. Life in the trees was now left for good and savanna promoted forward movement. Perhaps our love for travel and exploration dates back to those times, yet the brain size was 600 to 800 grams, now 1.5 times as much as its predecessors. The face became smaller. Around 1.5 million years ago, a new species appeared, Homo erectus, working man. They became the terror of African savanna. They used spars and stone tools a lot. Even the fiercest animals weren't safe from harm now. Man became a hunter. Skeletons of antelopes and even elephants surrounded by stone tools have been found in East Africa. Cut marks on animal bones are visible evidences of a new stage of our evolution. Possibly, this is around the same time humans discovered fire. The ape-like legacy in the skull was now in the past, but their jaw was still large and their brain twice as small as ours. Their height and build were exactly like the modern humans. Their bodies, except for their heads, were hardly any different from ours. They settled all over Africa and were the first to move beyond. The last step was to colonize the planet. So they took that step, and the very expanse of the planet were conquered by new masters. Not right away though. The planet didn't give man a hearty welcome. Nature should not be underestimated. At all times, life was not bed of roses. Humans remained with marks of predators, teeth bears witness to that. Yet it was hardship to engendered and foster reasons. Although their faces were still savage, their eyes shone with the renewed light of reason. They built shelters and buried their dead, and created the first object of art crude as they were. Man has grown through long and difficult path of evolution. What does future have in store? Reason makes us responsible for ourselves. Now everything depends upon us. Thank you and have a nice day.